That's fucking awesome. The sirens start up right as we start.
Nice intro.
I know. Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the of Ask an Enemy interviews. I always forget which fucking show I'm doing. With me today, I have the fellas from A Beautiful Mourning. We have Adrian, Adam, and Gonzo, right?
Sir.
All right. Gonzo's actually one of the dudes who I probably have met you, right?
Probably, more likely.
Yeah. But these guys I went to high school with, not directly, but those years. But
yes, sir.
So I got these guys in because I wanted to interview them, and you guys have a show coming up tomorrow.
Tomorrow night?
At
the King's X
King's
bar,
X.
Right, 4119 Mason Street.
North Mesa.
Right down the street.
Down the street.
Before this show, what other shows did you guys have?
What did we play last?
What was the last one we played?
We played at that place on the east side.
Happy Endings.
Happy Endings. Yeah, Happy Endings.
I think before that was King's X again.
Yeah.
And we didn't.
King's X is a
King's
spot
has
right
been
now.
yeah.
It's a hot
King's
spot.
has been good to us lately, so it's a fun place to play.
Huh. Crazy, man. Well, have you guys like, are you guys doing this show for a specific reason? Like, do you guys have a CD coming out or?
No, we've been recording
Trying to
some
poke
stuff.
you guys to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. We've been progressively working on music. We have stuff we haven't released yet.
Right.
We're starting to build up a new catalog still.
Mm-hmm.
We're still writing the same stuff for now. Basically the stuff that people have already heard. But
Right.
yeah, we're so busy in our daily lives most of the time, man, that we just need to play every now and then. So we just decided to put this one together.
I mean, because that's the thing, dude, is like, you guys have been in bands for a long time.
Yeah.
I would say
For sure.
going on longer than possibly 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, longer
Maybe
than that.
longer
man.
than that.
Over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't like to date ourselves. That's all. But why are you guys still playing? Like, what makes you guys still play, knowing that, like, you know, just all this shit happens and you guys play shows and maybe there's like 5 people there, or maybe there are like 30 people there, maybe the whole place is filled up. But what makes you guys keep playing?
We've done every spectrum of those shows that you just mentioned, man.
Yeah.
Last year when we played Tricky Falls for the Not So Silent Christmas last year,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, we had an epic crowd, man.
Yeah, that's good.
It was amazing. One of the best crowds we've ever played to. We've played other bars during the week where just
Like
the
2
regulars
people?
were there, you know.
The bartender.
But it comes
Yeah.
down to just wanting to not stop playing, man. I mean,
Right.
we've been doing it for so long. We all have jobs and we all have our families and everything else, and it's just something we always come back to. It's just music's just in us, man. There's no
Yeah,
way
right.
we're gonna ever stop.
And there's been chapters where probably every one of us have gone, a year here or there without
Mhm.
being a part of something. And you just get the itch. You
Yep.
just can't stay away. I mean, for me,
Right.
I go, if I'm not being creative, I start going crazy. So it's just, to fulfill that, really.
Hell yeah. Good answer, man. As far as, like, people kind of always like to know, like, where you started. You know what I mean? Like, what made you pick up a guitar in the first place? Like, Adrian, what made you pick up a guitar, or what happened where you're like, you know what? I'm going to start a band.
This was 6th grade. I remember really clearly. 6th grade, I was really impressionable at that point, and I was starting to discover music, but I was kind of going rolling along with the trends at that time. Power 102 was huge. I'm not going to date myself once again. It was the thing, man. I'm not going to date myself that way. I'm not going to tell you
then you guys are a hip hop band then.
I think we're a little bit of everything. Huh?
Yeah. 6th grade, my his older cousin introduced him to metal. And then one night, we always used to be at my grandma's house, man. Like, we lived there when we were younger. He said, "Hey, man, listen to this stuff." And he brought over a couple of cassette tapes.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you how dated I am.
I thought we weren't dating.
Some 8 tracks, dude. Some fucking 8 tracks up on that bitch.
Some LPs. So he's like, "Man, listen to this stuff." My cousin turned me on to this, and it happened to be the Black Album from Metallica.
Okay.
So he turned it on, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks, man. I was like,
Right.
why haven't I heard this before?
Yeah.
So he turned me on to that, and then that sent me down to Megadeth, Slayer, I mean, everything from that genre. And then I learned about KLAQ, which was still on, obviously. But I got more into rock at that point, and then I started branching off into listening to my own stuff. I more went the alternative way.
Hold on, you said you got more into rock
as
opposed to
metal
the Power
102 stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
right.
I was listening to basically what my friends were listening to at that point.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, that's cool. You listen to Power 102 because that's what everybody's doing.
Right.
But then I heard, Metallica for the first time, and it blew me away, man. Just the sound of the guitars and drums, I was like, I want to do that.
Right.
My grandma did have an old acoustic guitar in the back room that one of my aunts used to own. Beat up old thing. I went and started messing around with it, man. I tuned that guitar. I knew nothing about playing. I tuned it so I could play the intro to Enter Sandman without fretting any fingers.
Right. You should have started with Nothing Else Matters.
That's the simplest way.
I know, right? I didn't even have to do anything at that point. But that's where it started for me, man. That's the day that it started.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for people who don't know, that Nothing Else Matters is really, really fucking simple.
The beginning of it's open, completely open. You just pick the...
Yeah, totally. So, Adam, what about yourself, man? So these guys are brothers also, if you guys don't know.
Yeah, me and this guy have been playing together for years, too. Our middle brother, Drew, used to play with us for the longest time, too. He really supports us these days, too, though, man. We play shows, and he's
Is he not playing with you guys anymore?
No.
Oh, actually, I forgot. So what instrument do you guys play? I know personally, but...
I am the Adrian of the band. There's 3 of us, but... lead vocals and guitar. Rhythm guitar.
Okay.
Rhythm, guitar, and backup vocals.
Okay.
And I am the beats.
The drummer.
And our bass player is being a working stiff somewhere right now, so...
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Right.
You gotta pay the bills somehow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so sorry about that, Adam. So what is it that made you want to pick up?
Well, for me, it wasn't necessarily, a certain band or something. Of course, but everybody watching doesn't know that I was. He's my older brother. I have 2 older brothers, and when I was growing up, they were already playing in bands. So being the little brother, I wanted to emulate them.
Right.
Anything that they did, or even their clothes. I'd sneak into the room and steal their shirts and shoes and wear them to school and feel like the baddest kid in school.
They get home early. Put it back.
Yeah. And they would smell their shoes like, you wore it, didn't you? Son of a bitch. But yeah, really just them. Growing up and seeing them and getting to the point where I was old enough to actually go to their shows.
Right.
And eventually I ended up in bands, with both of them. And
we're all really close, man.
Right.
I mean, as far as brothers being close, I don't think you can get much closer than me and these guys.
It's legit, man.
Yeah.
So, it's legit, yeah.
I mean, to this day, obviously, I'm still playing with him. So
yeah, totally.
It's been pretty much a dream come true for me. So
hell yeah.
Yeah. So that's my story.
Go over to Gonzo.
Yeah.
I remember I started off into hip hop, young, really into hip hop. And then my cousin, back in the early 90s, he had a band in El Paso, just playing around. At my grandma's house, there was always drum sets, there was always guitars and all that.
Right.
So I remember I was maybe like 7 or 8, or maybe a little bit younger.
Mm-hmm.
There's a drum set there. I remember I just got on, and it was just natural. Just drum, okay. And then guitar or whatever. And then that's when I was like, who cares about hip hop? I was like, started listening to a lot of, like Morrissey, Depeche Mode, Cure, Smiths, and all that stuff.
Right.
And then it wasn't until like I got older and I started getting into like, it was Korn, Deftones, and stuff like that. And that's when like my drumming stuff came out. And I started playing back in like 2000, 2001. I was playing like in like a alternative group. And it wasn't until I met these guys where I started playing into like a harder hardcore. Not hardcore, but more harder than what I was playing in before,
Right.
But yeah, that's how I started off, basically just hip hop into,
That's sort of funny, actually, for him to say, because he's like the heaviest hitting drummer I've probably ever
played. Dude. I love nothing more than a drummer that can.
And it's funny because we did a session at Sonic Ranch about a year and a half ago, something like that. And he got in there. They had every single mic and every single drum and stuff. And Gonzo goes in there, and wow, and he's like, "It's too loud. It's banging."
You're
like,
banging. I'm like,
it's like they're drums, man.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, I'll play softer. It's still banging. I'm like,
right.
Oh my god.
And a side note about the way we started too, man. I have to put this in there. My dad, my dad played for years as a young guy.
Right.
Still, actually,
he does. He actually reunited with the same band before I was even born, man. They're still playing to this day now. He was a drummer for years and years and years, and we knew this, but it didn't really come to fruition until I heard the music that was going to set me off, and then from then on, my dad was really supportive. Like my dad, I started off as a drummer. That's the weirdest thing because my dad was a drummer. Right. I wanted to be a drummer. Lars,
you guys always had a drummer, a drum set at the house?
Well, no. Actually, my dad hadn't had a drum set for the longest time, and then I asked for one. Oh man, that drum set was cool, man. It was like a Beatles drum set, man. It was a pearl colored, like a Beatles drum set, man. It was like that pearl color with the you know what I mean?
With a huge.
And as soon as I got that, the gigantic kick drum with no front head, and it didn't even have the things for the head because that's the way they made them back then.
Right.
But I remember we paid like $75 for that thing, and my dad helped me get the heads and the cymbals and stuff. And I think my dad ended up playing it more than I did.
Right. Yeah.
And it was just from there, and they were cool with it, man. We used to do our band rehearsals in our living room. Man, remember? Our parents were so cool,
I remember going over to your guys' house.
Man.
Yeah,
you guys. Oh man, our shows go back a long way in high school too, man. The
Yeah.
backyard shows, those were fun, man.
Yeah, dude, I remember when I first joined Radium and we played a show in your guys' backyard in Santa Teresa.
Yeah.
That was fucking rad, dude. That was super cool.
And remember when we went to TRC, dude? When we did that
course.
auditorium and stuff, dude? That we felt like rock stars, dude.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing is like,
the whole town came out for that.
Yeah, and I wish there was video of that because I feel like you go back to it and be like, oh fuck, this is horrible. But it was so much fun.
Dude, that's what we cared about, dude. And it was, what was that other band from here, man?
Torque.
It wasn't
Torque. It was it was Plastic 7, Radium.
And we took the other guy with Bo. Remember that guy, Bo?
Oh, it was Torque.
It was Torque.
It was Torque.
Okay. With Daniel, with
Dan playing drums, Michael Angoria.
Yeah, Michael
Angoria. Yeah, totally, man.
Actually, ironically enough, today I was talking to my girlfriend about, just how far back we go with you.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to my mind the freaking radiation suit, dude. You used to wear.
Oh yeah! Holy shit, dude! Yeah, I forgot about that.
Ghostbuster, man. That was pretty. Yeah, that shit was badass.
Yeah, that was. I'm telling you, man. Like something about those like old high school days where like you can't
replace them.
Yeah, like you didn't give
There's
a
nothing
fuck,
like them,
and it was like fun, And now like you give like half that fuck, so it's just like
you kind of have to care now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't mean that in like you didn't care. It was just like you gave it everything you could, Yeah. And like now it's like you still do, but it's you kind of have that realistic outlook on stuff. Man. But as long as you don't let it take over, man, that's the bad part. But yeah, so you guys have been in other bands also, like outside, like Adrian. I know for the most part you've been like Plastic 7. Destroy Days, This Life, but for the most part, you have always been the like lead singer of those bands, right?
Yeah.
You've never like gone off on your own to do like something like play bass with someone else or play drums with someone else.
I've always been the singer in all the projects that I've done. Singer. Sometimes I was just the singer.
Right.
For a lot of years, I was just the singer in This Life. Actually.
Right.
I was just singing and I dropped guitar, and then.
What was the reason behind that?
I just wanted to move around more, man.
Okay.
I wanted a little more freedom, and I wanted to see what it sounded like without my guitar influence so much.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And who was playing guitar back then?
It was
some of those days.
And Danny.
And Danny, and a guy from I don't think they're a band anymore, but he was in a recent band called the Ivory Structure.
Mm-hmm.
And we go way back with him too. And
Yeah.
he was the other guitar player for This Life for a while. That was a later version of This Life because the original version I wasn't even a part of.
Yeah.
Okay.
The original This Life was Justin and Sammy, and Adam Burner.
No.
That was the end of Plastic 7 transitioning.
Oh, the
into This
transition,
Life.
yeah.
So yeah, it goes back, man. The
Right.
Burners, man.
Yeah,
That was the house in the backyard.
Yeah.
Lawrence and Adam and
Right.
Yeah.
So then, if you've always done that, like Adam, talk about a little, I guess, about your like experience with bands, because you mentioned you have been in bands without Adrian or just
absolutely, yeah. Well, I started out because of their influence. Of course, I started out probably younger than they did.
We did, yeah,
Right.
for sure.
By the time I was probably like 13, I was starting to jam, and I actually started on bass.
Yeah,
As a
okay.
bass player, I played
that, yeah.
bass for about a year, and eventually, when I actually joined a band, I did join on guitar. I had a couple of projects before actually joining up with my brothers. One of the noteworthy ones was a group called Beauty Through Noise, which was my high school band. But I still love that band. That CD, I play it sometimes
Right.
and reminisce.
That's always awesome, dude.
Yeah.
When you can go back and like wholeheartedly listen to something and be like, that was
Yeah,
that was
dude,
some cool
and I
shit.
actually dug
Yeah.
up some of that
Yeah.
stuff too from back in the Classic 7 days. I
Right.
have some tracks that I dug off of some hard drive somewhere. I was like, oh my god, this is
Fuck, dude.
freaking awesome, dude, and I wish I had more of it. I
Right,
really
right.
wish I had more of it, man.
Yeah, and I think it's good to do that, more so to kind of like, I guess, learn from it, because in retrospect, like, you can always look back at something and be like, fuck, we could have done this, or we could have changed this, or whatever, right? But knowing, because I know a lot of people who will go and record something, and or they'll think of going to record, but they never do, so they never have that like
Yeah.
part of history of their own history to go back and be like, fuck, I sucked at drums, like, dude, I was badass and now I suck, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I always tell everybody, as much as possible, if you can, always record
everything,
even
man.
fucking put that
And we make
like,
that
tape
mistake
recorder in the middle
even
of the
now.
screen.
You make that mistake.
Yeah.
You start running with the song, and you're like, oh, it sounds awesome, and then we are not able to get a
Yeah.
rehearsal together for
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 weeks, and then
It's
we
like,
come
hey,
back.
do you remember
How did
that
that
song?
song go? We
Yeah.
should have just put the
Exactly,
phone to
dude.
record.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so you
Gone
said
forever.
phone, I said tape recorder, dude. So talk about dating yourself. But yeah, so I mean, like, I always recommend doing that, because it's always good to, especially as you get older, your memory doesn't work as well, your
Yeah, for
retention.
sure.
So
My memory is just horrible.
Mine.
Horrible.
Shit. Fried.
yeah. So Gonzo, what about you, man? What's your past?
My
with bands
past,
been
like I said, I started playing in a band back in like 99, 2000.
Mhm.
It was.
How old were you then?
Oh.
Talk about dating
You're gonna make-
yourself.
I know.
Yeah, no,
really
because it's weird, dude, because I know that's funny, but the funny part is I always like to know the age of people when they were doing certain things,
Right.
because you tend to have a different perspective, you know what I mean? Like, if like the way, for example, we see kids in bands now,
Yeah.
like, you've obviously learned so much from the time you've been in bands that, like, you go back and you look at them, and it's not like a condescending thing, it's just like, fuck, dude, you guys should really do this, or you guys should
Yeah.
really
You want to be
push
a
for
dad
this.
to him, kind of.
Yeah, totally. Because
That's true.
like I said, a lot of the dudes that I interview, like, they don't have websites. They treat Facebook as a website,
Oh,
and
shit.
you know what I mean. And that's
We're guilty of that. So
yeah, and
Yeah,
well,
but, I mean, we've been there, done that, and all that
yeah,
shit. too,
pretty
you know?
much.
yeah. Well, and then you
Because-
guys fucking change band names like every fucking week, dude.
Not anymore.
Yeah. Well, no, that's
We-
true.
not
Because
anymore.
This band is actually we've been
name.
since 2009, man.
Yeah, we've been around for a while.
As a Beautiful Mourning.
Yeah.
Did you guys shift to anything else and then come back
No.
to
We
it? Okay.
What actually happened when we started? We were Beautiful Mourning.
Okay.
We didn't have the A.
Hey.
That's the only change, really.
Right.
And we went through a period where we had somebody sort of helping us out, like professionally,
Mm-hmm.
giving us a little bit of guidance, and he suggested that we add the A.
Okay.
Just, I guess, so it would roll off the tongue a little better. And we all, dug
actually.
the idea. So since probably about 4 years, we've had, the A.
Hey.
Right.
But the A is not the problem. The issue is the spelling of mourning that we have.
yeah,
Right.
You know, as it's
oh, that's
with,
a nice name.
it's
It
with
makes
the
it think
U.
of-
You know.
It's like, well, it's
Right.
not the kind of mourning.
And we announce it at every show that it's with a U, but still, you know, we get on flyers and it's
Morning.
you know,
Like, good morning.
Yeah.
Or they-
You know what? So hold that thought because I do want to go back to that, but I kind of cut off Gonzo just because of the H.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, shit, I
But
forgot.
yeah, exactly.
I
See,
forgot.
that's what I'm
There you
saying,
go.
dude.
Fried.
No, I'm usually
Shit.
really bad about that, dude. But I've been drinking a lot of green tea. So.
I smoked too much green tea.
before it's tea.
Yeah,
Before
seriously,
it was
man.
made of tea.
But yeah, no, I mean, like, and going back again, like to the age thing is, like I said, just because of that, you know, you kind of like you have a different outlook on things. So I like to see like if that maybe affected any of your decisions, or I mean, not like I'm a fucking psychologist and shit, but just a personal thing that I like to ask. But anyways, so yeah, go ahead, man. So it was 99.
99 to I was like maybe like 17,
Mhm.
16, 17. And then...
See, so that's the other thing too is I'm older than you. Now, based on that, I know that. So okay, that's another thing I like to see because, like I said, dude, people have different outlooks depending on when they grew up and how old they were at certain times. You know what I mean? Like especially during that era of music, which I think was really, personally, I think was my favorite era. It was like 95 to
I agree.
I don't know, like
Yeah.
2004 maybe, like
Yeah.
that chunk right there.
Yeah.
You know. But anyways, sorry, dude. So again, I interrupted you.
Well, I was like, oh, shit. 2019, 16, 17, around there.
What bands were you
It
in?
was a band, and it was one of my older cousins' band.
Okay.
Their drummer disappeared or got kicked out or something. So and they were called
From the cartel, or
Yeah. Probably not. They were called E-Step.
Uh-huh.
And
Oh yeah, shit! I remember them. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And,
You played with them?
Yeah. That's
That's why you look familiar,
my
then, dude.
cousin's
Yeah,
band.
I probably
Yeah.
like we.
There's
we
photo
had to
shoots
have
of this
played.
guy in that
Oh
band.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
Okay,
Go
cool.
way
Shit.
back. And I remember one of my first big shows was like 2001. I don't know. We opened up for Anything Box at the old Club 101
I remember
downtown.
that show.
Downtown.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember it was one of my first shows, like to a sold out fucking crowd. You know, I
Fuck
remember
yeah.
I walked out fucking 18, dude, like 17, 18, just like, oh shit.
Right.
I remember I played the whole show, and then you can see it on YouTube. Like I'm just like this, just
Yeah.
Try not
like
to look at the
fuck,
crowd.
and I look
Yeah.
up and I'd get nervous, like fuck. You know?
Yeah.
And then after that, something like that band broke up, and me and my cousin made up another band called. At first it was called Mellotron,
Mhm.
and then we went to Bellator. And that-
Mellotron sounds familiar.
Yeah, the Mellotron.
and then that's when we were working with Norman Matthews around
Mm-hmm.
that time, and we did a couple shows, and then after that ended, we went back to E-Step, and I was getting bored with that because I was like, damn, I want something different. And then I got a call one day, and it's like, hey, you want to try for a new band? I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's see what's up. And that's when I met these guys.
Man, we gelled right away, man. Like the tunes.
Maybe
started
like the
rolling
second
out.
practice, that's when we started writing new jams.
Yeah.
Wait, so that was recently, or that
No,
was
2000
way back
ago?
in?
2009?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I remember E-Step was 2000. I think we stopped like 2002, 2003,
Right.
and then like 2004 to like 2000 shit.
2000 shit.
2000 shit. Yeah, no, like around
I think that's what
2000
we're in right now,
like
dude.
2000,
2000
like,
shit.
like around 2007. That's that whole Mellotron and Bellator thing, and that's when like I stopped cold turkey, and I was like,
Yeah, we
itching.
all do it, man.
I was
'cause,
itching, just like,
Right.
And
fuck,
we
you
did
know?
that too. I took the break before we started with him, and
No,
then
we-
I called this guy up.
Actually,
we didn't do
we're-
anything for.
We were a different lineup before Gonzo.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when Drew
Five-piece.
was
Drew was still with us at that
and
point
guitar
before-
player named John.
baloney.
Yeah.
Wait, so that's what I'm saying. So wasn't that Destroy Days?
No.
So
No.
when was that? Because that's what I'm saying. That's where I got confused. I
Oh,
thought you
the-
guys did that.
No, Beautiful
in
Mourning
between a
didn't-
Beautiful Morning.
Destroy Days was
Destroy Days was before this.
was
one.
before.
It was,
Destroy
Okay.
Days. At the end of Destroy
About
Days was where I took
2007?
my year break
it was
off.
about
Okay.
2007 that we did.
8,
Destroy
2007.
No, that makes sense because the very first episode of the video podcast I do was
That
with
was-
you guys,
that was
and
Destroy
that was
Days. Yeah, that was Destroy
2008.
Days. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Holy
that's
shit.
at the end of
Okay.
Destroy Days. That's when I was like, I can't do. I need a break.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had just had my daughter too at that point, and I needed to focus on getting the whole life situation with the new kid kind of thing.
Right.
I mean, I had my stepson before, but I'd never had a newborn.
Right.
So that's totally different ballpark.
Yeah.
So we took a break at that point, she was pushing a year old, and she started getting easier and stuff like that. And man, I was like, dude, I can't be without music anymore. It's
Right.
driving me nuts.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So I called me and Adam started talking, and we're like, dude, let's start something, and it was like, let's see what musicians are available right now.
Right.
And Drew did start with us for a while, and then we had Peter.
Peter was bass.
We had this one of our
we
buddies named
started
Peter, and we didn't name the band at this point.
No.
We were
Peter, we're getting confused. Peter was Destroyed Days.
That was before Destroyed Days?
That's
No,
the white dude.
Yeah.
Tall dude, right?
Peter,
Okay,
Peter, Pete.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was your Destroyed Days.
So you're right.
The original lineup
You're
of
right.
this one was
Played
a
bass,
five-
right?
Yeah.
Bass player? Yeah.
It was
So-
a 5-piece. It was me, Adrian, D, which is our current bass player. Then we had my brother Drew on drums
And John on bass.
And then
That's right.
Drew and John stepped out, and Adrian decided to come back to guitar.
Because we didn't want to
Basically,
add
because
another-
we didn't want to add a fifth member again and deal with another
Another
schedule,
personality.
another
Yeah,
personality.
That's so tough, man.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
We went to, well, for a while we were 3, and then Gonzo came in and, he gelled with us, like...
Immediately.
Yeah, because I remember D was the one that called me.
Yeah. And D
Yeah.
told us, he's like, well, I have a buddy of mine.
He's
that,
like, oh, I
I
got
know.
the guy. He's like, I know the guy. I got the guy.
Right.
Like, okay, and we had tried other drummers
Yeah.
too, dude. And it's hard, man. We tried other drummers, and some were just too soft, and some were way too heavy.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
blast
yeah.
beating
Let
kinda,
alone
you know what I mean?
liking their style. You still have to worry about their schedule.
Yeah,
exactly.
and
So-
that's one of the other reasons I went back to guitar. And I love playing guitar. Don't get me wrong. I
Right.
would write. I was part of the writing process even when I wasn't
Right.
playing guitar in the bands. But it was a lot out of necessity, and we're like, man, I'm just gonna go back to guitar because I don't want to deal with another guy on guitar.
Right.
And
Yeah.
his whole other slew of
I think
problems.
that comes in it. That brings the whole age and experience thing back into the fold.
The less
Yeah,
guys in the
just-
band
yeah.
is probably better.
No, yeah, totally, man. I know firsthand, dude.
Yeah. So
But yeah, so Gonzo, have you played in any other bands aside from this? Like, say, have you done anything? So what I mean to say, sorry, was that like, have you guys? I know since you guys have played together for a while, have you done any like recording stuff outside
yeah.
of this band?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in
yeah,
a couple-
Gonzo's actually a part of a couple of projects.
Yeah. Right now, yeah, I'm in different bands, just experimenting and shit right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have you done like? Do you actually have like albums that you've released with those other bands,
Yeah.
or even with these bands that you're doing right now?
Yeah. Well, not right now, almost, but on my previous ones, yeah.
Okay.
On that, East of Ball's drums, and then when I played
No,
with,
the ones right now.
Yeah, no, like right now. Like,
right now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
are you
yeah.
doing with those other bands?
Right now, we're working on an album right now.
Okay.
An album should be done hopefully by next year. Hopefully.
Okay.
That's Epica.
Epica.
Yeah.
And it's weird. Our bands play together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played
And it-
twice.
So you
and
played
shit.
twice?
Yeah,
Twice in
fuck
one
yeah,
night.
dude.
I was like,
I've done
fuck.
that before. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's intense.
Yeah, totally. So you guys were talking about earlier, obviously off camera, that you guys had. You guys obviously have this show coming up tomorrow,
Yeah.
which is at King's X. But you also have another show. You said Not So Silent Christmas.
Yeah. We've been doing that way. How many? The one last year and did we the year
Yeah.
before that too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah?
it?
Yeah.
I don't remember if we did the year
Shit,
before
I don't
that.
even remember.
We've done
Yeah.
it.
Are those
But-
shows still done by Chris Haight, or is it
No,
someone
no,
completely
man.
different?
It's
So-
Martin from Boyer, man.
Oh fuck.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He's been
Yeah.
actually spearheading that since it moved to Tricky Falls. It's been Martin doing it.
Oh okay.
Yeah. So he did an awesome job last year, man.
Last year
Last
was
year's
good.
show was really great.
And is it still like fucking tons of bands, or is
Yeah,
it just
there
kind of
was
more?
18
Yeah.
bands
Yeah,
last
Yeah,
year.
that year was
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah.
There was
How did-
18
how did
bands
they
and
do
two
that
stages.
at
There was a
Tricky Falls?
side. It was the main stage, and then there was a stage
Side
off to the
stage.
side. So one finished, one started playing.
Wow.
It was awesome. It
Yeah.
was really awesome.
Hell yeah.
This year, I think he scaled back because I think he probably got stressed the fuck out.
Oh, I'm sure, dude. That's
he was
what I'm saying.
kind of a one-man
Fuck.
show with the whole
Yeah.
thing. So he's doing one stage and 8 bands or 10 bands?
Yeah, he
Something
cut
a
it-
little
he
less
cut
than
it-
that.
yeah, he cut
and
it-
everybody's going to be on the main stage
Main
this
stage.
year.
Right.
But same thing, Tricky Falls. What's the date?
December.
It escapes me. We posted it on our Facebook.
Okay.
So anybody that's out there is
December
watching
On your what?
on our Facebook. I know, we got to get it.
December
Hey,
16th or some shit. No.
Yeah.
Something around there.
Yeah, it's just, man, we,
Oh, you guys.
It's hard
Do you
for the
guys?
website stuff,
Do you
man.
guys at least have a Facebook with like the name at the end?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what is it?
Oh,
so
yeah,
people
yeah,
can
yeah.
tell. Yeah,
And then we have a Reverb Nation page, too.
What
Okay,
is
yeah.
it?
I mean, pimp it out, man. It's all exposure, so.
Facebook address is TX, right? Facebook.com/A Beautiful Mourning TX. Or is that the reverb?
You can just, it's
No,
reverb. No,
It's A
Facebook is
Beautiful
just,
Mourning, yeah, it's just the name.
Just search the
Beautiful
shit.
Mourning?
Yeah.
it's just
Beautiful Mourning.
Facebook.com.
Yeah.
But spell
/
morning right.
Beautiful Mourning. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and see,
Mourning.
I know I give you guys shit for that, but I just always feel that, like, the least amount of, like, trouble that you can put on the person searching for the band, you know, even if they're doing a search, there's a possibility they come up with a band that's not even you guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, if you guys have a
There's a
website, even if it forwards to your fucking Facebook, that's fine, but it's the idea of, like, cutting that...
We'll have to talk, JC.
Huh? I know, right?
We'll have to talk. We'll do some business after
I
the
know,
show,
right?
man.
No, I mean, I'm just saying. I'm not trying to advertise like services or anything. I'm just saying, like, it's kind of like a way for you guys to just break that barrier, that like barrier to entry for people who are trying to find out what your band is.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Like you just name a website, bam, it's done.
Yeah.
So. Instead of Facebook.com, GeoCities, blah, blah, blah. You know,
Oh man, remember those websites back in the day, man? GeoCities, yada yada
It's a
yada
lesson to be
yada
learned,
yada.
man.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
totally.
I remember those websites, man. That was craziness. It was all HTML.
Right. Yeah, totally. So what I was also going to ask is, you guys do have stuff people can listen to, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you guys have albums that people can listen to, or is it just kind of like songs you guys have released?
Yeah, it kind of ended up that way.
Released,
As like just songs?
We put out an EP.
Okay. Like if an EP that's titled that has art or anything people can relate to?
4 years ago, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, currently we've put you know, stuff that we've been working on. We'll put a song up here and there.
Okay.
It is all eventually going to be a full record.
Right.
Eventually.
Right.
But yeah, all that stuff is on Reverb Nation.
Yeah.
You can find that stuff on Reverb Nation.
Yeah, and I mean, because people do that, like when they release an album, especially nowadays, like what a lot of bands are doing is they're releasing, like, say to their fan club or whatever, right? And I have some notes I was going to talk to you guys about that too, but say you have a fan club. What they'll do is they'll release like a song, say every month, and then after like 12 months or whatever, usually that's like a 12, full length, they'll release the whole thing and then maybe like package it as like a limited edition, either vinyl or give out a shirt or something so that it's a little more tangible. So people who might have held out that whole time, or even like super fans who like still bought all those songs,
with the shirt and all that stuff.
So
fucking ideas right there, dude.
Right, but so that's the thing is like there are people who do that where they charge for each individual song every month. But then there are also people who give away the songs every month because you want people to listen to them. Again, it's that barrier to entry. If you give it to them for free, then it's there. But if, they have to pay, then there's that one person who's going to be like, fucking $1, nah. You know what I mean? Like, even if they like the jams, it's like, I could find it some other way or some shit. But yeah, so like they'll do that. They'll give them away for free. Then at the end, they'll package it up and sell it at shows or whatever.
I like that, actually.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just ideas. Like, I know people do that. And, as opposed to just kind of like, oh, yeah, well, we kind of released a song and just put it out there. No, put some effort behind it. If that's what you really want to do, right? Like, if you want to take it serious or whatever the fuck. Yeah, no, I mean,
whatever the fuck.
It's because
it just depends, man. It's just so many levels of music these days, man.
Yeah, totally.
I totally understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, that's why I always lead with that question is, why are you still doing music? You know, because some people don't answer that question. Some people just kind of like, well, I don't know, because it's fun or whatever. So like, it's cool. Like everyone has their reasons, but that's where you got to ask yourself is like, well, what are you doing this for? No one ever asks why. They only ask like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
That's
an easy one to answer. I love it, man. I have never stopped loving it. And I remember one guy when I was in high school. I was a freshman and I was so hard up about my band and I'm writing music, and he was like a senior. And he's like, man, you're going to get tired of it. He goes, I've been playing, and he was an amazing guitar player, dude, like blew my mind. But he gave it up eventually, and he's like, you're going to get tired of it later. And I'm like, no, you know what, I don't think I am. And this is...
It's like you
98, man.
like
this
fucking full on.
No, that was 94 when I was told that, and I'm still doing it, and I don't get tired of it, man. So much to the point that, all the stuff we do, we record at my place. I mean, it's
right. So I wanted to get into that process. Yeah, like Like, what do you guys do to start the process? Like
the process starts with an old school jam in the garage, man. Yeah. We still write our music completely old school. We don't trade files and riffs and stuff like that. Right. We'll go into the garage and somebody has a riff. Hey, play that again.
Right.
We just start layering.
And just start building off of it.
And that's always worked the best for me in the years I've been playing, man. And traditionally, and the great thing is these guys come from the same generation.
Right.
So that's what they like too.
Right.
You know, I've yet to run into a musician that we work with that's like, oh man, I like it when, you know, I'll write a bunch of riffs and you pick one, and then I don't know if I could work that way. I'm not opposed to trying it at all.
Right.
Because I have the ability to take a file from somebody and then plug it into the studio and, you know, build on it. But it starts there, man, organically. I guess is the best way to say it.
It's not necessarily that we don't go in with riffs, because I know I've gone in, you know, with a whole song written in my head.
Right. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
And I'll play the first part, and we'll write an entirely different song.
Dude, and that happens.
You know,
a lot,
you can plan
actually.
as much as you want, but you know, once it has a life of its own, you know, it's gonna take off. And those are the best songs. Yeah. You know.
Right.
And then from there, I did not have a single ounce of recording knowledge until maybe 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. But we started recording with this, with Paul Ward. He's a pretty well-known name. I mean, from back in the day.
Yeah, totally.
He set up a studio and he started, you know, charging bands to go in and record for really good prices, actually. And he was a really good producer, too. But, again, with schedules, everybody's got a life. So you got to work around the producer's life schedule, too. Right. So you couldn't just take a bunch of songs you had ready and be like, okay, we're going to block off 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is, we're going to go nail it out. Man, it took a long time for us to be able to do that. But see, the funny thing is, it's taken us just as long. And from that, I decided, you know what, I'm going to learn this recording thing. I'm going to do it. Right. I know it's going to be a huge learning curve because I know not the first thing about it. I got a laptop, I got a recording program, and a set of headphones, man, and I started screwing around with the program.
What program are you using?
You know what? And I've stuck to it.
I like to talk a lot about gear. That's
I've stuck to. Oh, so do I, man.
Yeah.
I stuck to it this long because I know it in and out. It's I've been using FL Studio Producer Edition.
Oh shit!
The updates and stuff, and that's what.
Fruity Loops.
Yeah.
Oh shit, dude! That's crazy.
Yeah, and I got one of my buddies turned me on to it, and he's like, "Well, here it is. Here's what I know."
Right.
But I haven't really used it for what you want to use it for.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, but he knew a little bit, so with that, I just took it and ran.
Yeah. Totally.
And I morphed it into what I needed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've tried other ones. I've tried Ableton. I got another one. What was the other one? I've yet to bite the bullet on Pro Tools yet.
I wouldn't recommend it.
I know.
Simply because it's very specific to hardware and shit like that.
Yeah.
But the learning curve is actually really steep. Do you have a Mac or Windows PC?
I'm Windows.
Okay. You might want to try Reaper. It's super cheap, and it's super, like, powerful. Like, it's a really good program, but the learning curve isn't too bad on that. There's just a lot of, like, really nitpicky stuff that I see, knowing I've tried so many different ones also, and I see the potential in it.
Yeah.
But it's actually a really good option if you're doing Windows stuff.
I'll try it out, man. But I just got so used to it, man, and that I can turn it on and immediately
start
write and record immediately. Yeah. No gap, no problems. It's from the time I turn on the computer to the time I have it open.
Right.
My guitar's in and I've recorded something. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's immediate. And I know it front to back now that when these guys come in, we've got an electronic drum set that we run through to get, you know, the nice sound, the drum sounds and all that. And then Adam, I already know his sound, man. So we don't even mic amps or anything. I use a lot. It's so much easier for us to go in because I can build anything.
What do you guys use to mic the guitars or to make the guitar?
We go straight. I am using Pod Farm actually.
Okay.
I use Pod Farm.
Yeah.
I also use a Line 6 pod, an actual physical one.
Right.
That I use for different songs because they do have different sounds.
Right.
You know. What I mean?
the thing with the pod that I've actually noticed is it's actually really good for the style of music you guys do.
Yeah.
Because it's very like just kind of really good grungy like you know, guitars that are like thick sounding, and you can still like cascade a bunch of like
So and for Adam's sounds are a little more focused. Adam's sounds are real specific timing delays,
right,
with a little bit of reverb behind them to make them open up,
right.
And I know how to do that. If Adam comes in, he's like, I want it to sound this way. We take maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and we've got a perfect patch built.
Cool.
And it layers in perfectly.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know his voice, I know my voice. So the recording process is really smooth, and I'm really comfortable with the setup. I think the tracks that we come out with they're by no means a professional grade, but
you have them recorded.
They sound
That's what
good
I'm always
and
saying.
recorded,
Yeah.
and then people like them, man. Like they sound. When we heard when they played them on KLAQ, you hear it and you're like, it sounds good.
Yeah.
It actually does sound good through the radio, and that's all that really matters to me. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, totally, man.
Because you hear a lot of some recordings you'll hear come through the radio on local spots or whatever,
right?
Or you hear somebody's CD that they give you, and of course, as you know, you start hearing something, you start pulling it apart.
I would have done
this. I would have done this.
Yeah, totally.
But they hear yours and be like, oh, they should have done this. Everybody's a critic.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. But it's a lot easier for us to do that because we don't have to pay anybody.
Right.
And all the gear's mine.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
so there's no cost in recording for us at this point.
Right.
Which is no point to pay for us because there's not a lot of money to make in the music industry at this point when you're local.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I support that endeavor full on, man. That's fucking crazy. But yeah, so as far as like the recording process or like the writing process, there's no like single dude who goes in and like maybe like spearheads a fucking song. It's just kind of like let's just go around some ideas.
No.
It's all of us.
It is completely equal, and that's one of the things I've always loved about this particular band. There's never been an ego problem.
Mm-hmm.
There's never been the time where it's like, oh man, or one guy saying, I don't like your guitar, you're off time, blah 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 blah.
Right.
We've always just kind of moved continually, gradually, all together. You know what I mean? And the writing process is like, I don't know about the vocal, and I don't take it personally.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I'm writing for a song, a whole thing that everybody's piece has got to fit with. If they don't like it, then their part's not going to sound as good either. So, in my head, and I think these guys' heads too, it's the same thing. Like, Adam's part will be like, oh, I don't know, man, that part sounds good. Okay, I'll try something else. Or Gonzo's like playing some part, I'm like, hey, dude, try this. Or I think this part needs to be more like this. Okay, cool.
Right.
It's simple.
Another advantage that comes with the age and the experiences is we can tell each other and not feel like disrespected or something.
Right.
You're like, dude, that's not working. And we're not gonna beat it to death. Say no, we gotta make it.
No,
work.
it's your guitar. Instead of a lot of times, I've been in bands that way.
Right.
You're like, oh no, dude, it's because your guitar's out of tune. It's not me.
Yeah.
It's not my vocals. You're out of tune, not me.
So,
I'm sure you guys have worked with people like that
too.
To
the point, the point that we're at right now, the four of us. It's awesome. We know each other and we know how we play and how we write and it just works, man. It's great.
Well, yeah, and it's like there. I guess like kind of like what you guys are saying. There seems to be like a negative connotation to one person. Kind of, it's not so much the idea of one person controlling everything. It's one person having a vision. It's kind of like your body. You only have one head, but you have different limbs. And without your head, the limbs don't fucking function. So you do have to have that one person who kind of at least like focuses shit when someone's like not feeling well or whatever the fuck. It's a way to like seek a direction.
I'm gonna have to take credit for that because I've been deemed the asshole in the band, but there's got to be one.
Yeah,
there's got to be one that says, "Dudes, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You guys are dragging it."
Yeah.
Or hey asshole, come on, get your shit together. Or what the fuck, Adam? And I've been known to be that guy, but it's for me, it's not an ego thing. It's not a control thing. It's the better of the band kind of thing.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And eventually they're like, yeah, you're right. It's probably good that we got it all back together, but. I haven't had to really do that too much anymore because everybody's on top of it. Like, we won't hear each other for a couple of days, and then Gonzo will be like, hey, when are we jamming? Hey, what days can you do? Or Adam will do it, or I'll do it, or Dino will do it. You know what I mean? It's really a lot better than it used to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So as far as the band name, like, remember I wanted to go back to that. Like, why A Beautiful Mourning? What does that mean to you guys?
Adam actually came up with the name, and I was like, wow, that's awesome.
Well,
oh, wow.
For me, what it meant was, obviously, the context, mourning, is, you know, a loss of something, but for me, you know, the mix of the words, you know, A Beautiful Mourning, is sort of where our music comes from. You know, it comes from a place of loss, but it also comes from a beautiful place. You know, and it's not, you know, something that happened yesterday. This is, you know, our music is a product of what's happened to us for our whole lives.
Right.
So, it just comes from that place where, you know, deep down inside, you know, everybody has their skeletons and, you know, you've gone through awful shit or you've gone through, you know, huge victories, and I mean that's basically, you know, what it means.
Right.
We still try to give music substance, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's real easy to. For me, I can, dude. I have the studio in my house now, so I constantly write music.
Mm-hmm.
It's really easy to just choose a subject and write about it, even if you know nothing really too much about it. You know what I mean? But
right.
For me, with something that I respect, as far as these guys too, and how awesome musicians they are, and how good I know a song's gonna come out, I think it deserves something real. You know.
Well, what do you? Who normally writes the lyrics? Is it basically?
Yeah.
I'll give Adrian full credit on that one.
And so, what is it you normally write about, man? Just stuff like that, like
man.
Relationship
the ups
stuff,
and the ups and downs, man, of life, and it is completely pertinent to myself.
Right.
Universe is one of the songs that we have. I gave you on the disc. It's the first one it's number one on there because people seem to like that one, and I decided if I'm gonna hand CDs out, I'm gonna lead with the strongest one that people are gonna immediately gravitate to.
Totally.
It's a triumphant kind of song, man. It makes you feel good. It's about feeling left out and needing something to grab onto, and then realizing that there's tons of people that feel like that all the time.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude.
So the chorus just kind of like just sings that whole thing. It's like, hey, you know what? You're not alone. You're not alone. I felt like I needed to write a song like that for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't just for me.
Right.
And there's other songs like My Nightmare that came from a really horrific, bad dream that you wake up from sweating, and the most horrible thing that could possibly happen to you comes to fruition. So you feel all this stuff, and the anger and the confusion and stuff comes out, and that's what that song's for. You know what I mean? So it's I think it comes out, man. If you actually listen to the songs, and I think it would go a long way in music if people took the time to find out what the song's about before they listen to it, or as they listen to it.
Right. Well, again,
wow, I didn't think of it that way. But I also like the part of music where you can make it your own and be like, oh wow. But it didn't really mean that. Right. But to you, it's like, wow, this is exactly what I was thinking or what was happening.
Yeah.
That's
totally.
cool,
I mean, that's why I've always thought when someone kind of explains their art to you, it ruins the meaning of it to a certain extent, you know? Yeah. Because then it's no longer what you thought. Yeah. That meaning is completely torn away.
Yeah.
So, that's I mean, obviously the song means something to you, and the lyrics themselves paint that fucking picture of punching someone in the face or whatever the fuck, right? But, yeah, like, when someone else hears it, they're seeing the person they hate punched in the face or whatever.
And that's great.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of music's main jobs, man, is to create emotion for people. I mean, why else do people listen to music? Because it makes them feel a certain way.
Right. Totally, man. So let's take this real quick section to talk about some gear, because I like talking about gear.
Nice.
So, like, what, Adrian, or actually, let's start with Adam. What is it you currently play through? What's your guitar? What would you wish you had?
Right now, my two guitars are actually pretty low-budget guitars.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
Nope.
I have two Telecasters. One of them is a Squire, and one of them is a J. Tercer.
Mm-hmm.
My pedals are I don't even remember what they're brand.
You knew this on.
I just gotta know.
That's the CB talking, man.
It's a Vox multi-effects pedal, which I just got because I had a Zoom for years and years, man, that would not give up on me.
Right.
And we had one show where it just went haywire and just.
That's crazy, dude, because I've never had good luck with Zooms. Like
really?
Yeah, Zooms
dude,
always,
fucking pedal
from the day you started, it's like, this thing is a piece of shit.
I owned a Zoom 505 for like 10 years, dude. And the only reason I stopped using it is because the battery, I was switching out batteries so often that the wires got frayed, and I started trying to solder them, and it just didn't work the same.
Yeah, of course.
Go ahead, man. Keep going, Adam. I
cool,
love
man.
my Zoom. I still have it, actually.
Wow, that's crazy.
I still own it.
Hell
the
yeah.
Zoom I had I probably played with it. I'm the entirety of this band. I played with it live until just recently, and I got a Vox, and I like the sound of it. I researched a lot of pedals, and I liked it. It wasn't pricey, but I really liked the sound of it. I'm pretty specific as to what I want my stuff to sound like. Even though I haven't spent a lot of money on it, I think I have a pretty signature sound.
Right.
And I have that, and then my delay pedal, just the basic delay pedal, is a Ibanez.
Okay.
And that's it.
Is there a reason you go with like multi-effects like processors as opposed to like individual stomp boxes? Or?
Well, you
cost.
did do.
Oh, just cost?
He did
Okay.
stomps before.
Right.
Pretty much just cost. I had a lot of, I had 4 or 5 different, independent pedals, and, same thing I get out of those in one pedal. It saves room, it saves money, so that's pretty much what it is for me.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Adrian?
Me, I am. I'm a Gibson Epiphone guy, man. I started off with all kinds of different guitars.
SGs, Les Pauls.
I have every kind, actually.
Oh wow,
I've got 2 SGs. I've got
P90s or humbuckers, dude.
I haven't gotten a P90 yet.
Dude,
I really want, dude. I know, dude. I know,
and
I want one.
But they're still
I know,
nice
and I will have one.
A funny fact is that I had an Epiphone Les Paul, and Adrian acquired the Squire that I'm playing, and we actually traded straight up.
Wow.
Because I played the Squire, and I thought it sounded more like what I wanted to sound like, and straight up we traded.
And for me being a rhythm guitar player and the type of band that we are, I need a chunkier sound.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Is like
Les Pauls are
running. Like you guys' sound is more of like a thicker, kind of distorted, higher gain sound.
Yeah.
And P90s would just squeal the fuck. Yeah,
that might work for you too.
That's true.
Some P90s.
If you have really high gain equipment, probably humbuckers are the way to go because then you're not going to be feeding back as much.
That's true too. So I do Les Pauls. My main guitar, believe it or not, I do have a Gibson Studio Deluxe that I bought, and I thought that was going to be my workhorse go-to. But then after that, I acquired an Epiphone Les Paul Custom.
Okay.
I put some Gibson Burst Booker Pros in it, and that guitar to me, among all the ones that I have, is unrivaled for life.
Oh wow!
I love it to death, man. And my Gibson takes a backseat to it. To be honest.
Cool.
My amp, to be honest, man, I don't believe that brand or price dictates quality of sound, because, and I'll tell you
sound is objective as well. I mean subjective.
It also comes through your hands, man. The way you sound is your hands.
Yeah,
a lot.
Exactly.
It was time to get a new amp. I have 4 half stacks, man.
Right.
I've been collecting. I don't get rid of gear.
Yeah.
I have the first PV that I ever started playing.
Right.
I still have that. I went out and I bought a Marshall, full tube Marshall half stack. Remember I brought that to the rehearsal space. I was like, dude, that's so badass. Dude, we started rehearsing. I fucking hated it. I fucking hated it.
Do you remember what it was?
Oh, I can remember the model, dude. It's been like 2 years, since I bought that thing. I took it right back, dude. The next day after that rehearsal, I took it back. And I had already researched before that, and I should have gone with my gut. I ended up buying the amp that I should have bought, that I've owned since. And believe it or not, it is a Fender Mustang.
Oh wow!
Half stack.
The one with all the different
modeling.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a modeling amp.
That's an interesting.
Because I do have another Fender that is a full tube Fender
that
I need to get worked on because it sounds awesome. I've had that head for years too.
Like a twin reverb or
it's a head. It's actually a Fender. No, it's actually a hybrid. It's a distortion I think the clean section's tube, and then the clean section's tube, and then the distorted section's solid state. It's a Fender Rock Pro 1000.
Okay.
And I played that amp for years, and it was loud as shit. And it was everything I ever wanted.
Yeah.
So when it came to buy the new amp, I bought the Marshall, and I hated it. I took it right back.
Right.
And I bought the Fender Mustang, dude. I could not be happier with it. I'm a rhythm guitar player, so I build as many patches as I need, and they're my go-tos every show. They're
so
on
you
one
also
module.
Use multi-effects processor?
No. It's a pedal that controls the patches that I built in the amp.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. So
you actually do use all the modeling in the amp.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
cool.
absolutely.
All right.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I built all the stuff that I need. But God, I couldn't be happy with the gear, man. It has not failed me. Everybody's like, modeling is electronic, but anything else is, man. Tubes can go out. I mean, every piece of equipment is going to have its problem
exactly.
one day.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna, it's going to be the worst time, because it always is.
Yeah, and then tube amps do the same thing. Like, as much as, like, I love the sound of tube amps, like, it's almost somewhat unpredictable. Man. From show to show, depending on if the weather's changing and shit. Like
the power, plus the power grid, man.
Yeah.
The way that a bar's power grid, and if it's stable or not, will dictate the way your amp acts too.
Yeah.
So
most of the places here, fuck.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah. So Gonzo, what about your setup, dude? Tama straight up.
Always been Tama from when I started till now.
What about your sticks?
Sticks, the Vic Firth? Is it Vic Firth?
Yeah.
2 Bs.
2 Bs, really?
Yeah.
Tree trunk.
Son of a bitch, yeah, dude.
Oh, big dude, so like...
Yeah. Straight up, man.
So, yeah,
I use those ones too, and I look like a fucking little kid.
It's like Cheech and Chong, with Chong. Fucking sticks.
Well, it's like back in the day when, like, you play shows and your fucking sticks are breaking all over the place or whatever, and you
that's
exactly
someone else.
Get.
No, not even that. It's just like asking someone for sticks, and you end up with these fucking sticks. You're like, what the fuck is this?
Like,
you gotta deal with it.
Dude, how many times has that happened that you borrowed sticks and you've broken them immediately?
I fucking chop wood like a madman. Yeah, the 2 Bs, man. Always. Because that's when I remember when I first started, I would get the real thin one.
5As.
And the first song, boom, broken stick. Oh shit, I'm there looking for another one.
Right.
Playing with one hand, shit. Where's the other one?
I remember I even bought Gonzo I didn't really know what size he used, so I bought him this big pack from they had some Christmas special on Musician's Friend. I'm like, here, dude.
Fuck yeah.
And then he was running out. I was like, oh, fuck yeah, dude, I have your sticks. Yeah. And then he fucking went through that whole packet in like one show and shit. Because they were too thin. And he's like, thanks, dude, but I'm going to break all these like in 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, I used to play with a drummer who would just fucking pick up whatever they fucking had at the store. And like, it was like a mess of all these different size sticks and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? You know, like...
At least to get the same brand.
Yeah, well, it's the idea
size.
of like consistency and showing that the person didn't give a fuck, and it's like the not good give a fuck. You know what I mean? It's like I don't give a fuck. Why am I even here? As opposed to like, no, I know what fucking sticks I want. Let's fucking do this.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. And I even buy because I remember one Christmas I got the grip things on the fucking.
Oh,
the
dude,
stick.
those things tear your fucking hands
dude,
up.
Dude, for me, it's amazing because without them, like I'm playing and. If you're in the front row, I'm gonna fucking hit you in the eye. You know?
Yeah.
But with those grips, it's like shit.
Wow.
Like sweaty hands, whatever. They won't leave my hands.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, see, I used those on tour once, and when I was playing drums, like I would get a lot of blisters on my hands, and then they would just like rip my hands up, dude. Like they wouldn't ever leave my hand, but I think that's why I was just like, like they would, mend with my hand or whatever, blend in with my fucking skin and shit, dude.
That's a big saver right there.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, sticks are flying.
Yeah.
Hitting home runs and shit.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so I guess that's pretty much all the questions I have. I do have one final question for each of you guys.
Do it.
But unless you guys, I guess, if you guys want to plug anything you guys are doing right now, now's the time, and then I'll ask you guys.
I honestly, man, I want people to give more local music more of a chance these days, man. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff coming out from even just within your own town. I mean, even if you don't go to the show, I want you to go to shows because man, the heyday of the local huge shows was awesome, man. We know this.
Yeah, totally.
Remember the Club 101 shows and stuff? The locals used to pack those shows, man.
Yeah.
That could come back. I think it's going to circle back. I think the whole online thing is people are going to get restless eventually and want to get out more.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But everybody's online, man. You can just go click on their music and listen to it.
Right.
I've been doing that when people post stuff up. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't.
Yeah, totally.
But at least I try to listen to some of it, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if some of the stuff that locals write is just as good as the stuff that's on the radio. Man,
fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, I could think of like a handful of bands that for sure are like, this is some quality shit, but then at the same time, that's always subjective also.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's hard for me to like look at something objectively and like be not an asshole about it. You know?
Yeah.
But like subjectively, like if I love something, dude, it's like fucking never ending with me.
And it's just when the shows like the last King's X shows we played, they're awesome, man. It's just a good crowd, people show up. And it's getting back, and I've noticed that you start inviting people, and people are starting to show up more.
Right.
And I really do think it's because the whole age of technology is awesome. trust me, I'm benefiting from it because I'm able to buy all the gear that that I was never able to afford. You can go get it. I mean, anybody wants to start recording, dude, you can throw like $250 at your with your laptop and have a pretty decent little setup to record some songs.
Totally.
So I just think people are gonna want stuff that they can. I mean, it shows at the shows, man. Like King's X, I have no doubt tomorrow's gonna be awesome as shit.
Cool. So yeah, once again, these guys are playing at King's X tomorrow. What's the address? Do you guys know it?
4119? Is it 40?
I think so.
I'm not sure. I don't even know.
I passed out flyers today at work, and I don't even have one on me.
That's cool. I mean,
it's right,
I'll
there's
post
a
it on
big
the
neon
too,
sign right down on Mesa. I'm sure everybody's seen
I mean,
it.
Cool.
If you're from Chuco and you don't know where King's X is, you should just get out. But be there tomorrow.
If you haven't been there, you know where it is.
Right. Okay, so then this is the final question, guys, and we'll close out on this.
Do it.
I actually warned Adam about it, and I guess he told you, but he didn't tell Gonzo.
Oh.
So I'll give you some time to think about it while I ask these other two guys. This is actually a question that my buddy Hector asked me on Facebook. You know those things that they tag people with, and what's your most influential, whatever. But I wanted to. I narrowed it down to 5 because obviously we didn't have too much time. But so I want to know what each of your guys' 5 most influential albums are. And
I'm going to go first.
Like completely personal stuff too, not like fucking, oh, this is influential because at the time this didn't happen or whatever. You know, it's just like, what are your guys' like most influential albums of all time?
Go for it. You can start.
For me, well, it'll probably give away, my age once again. My
It's the running theme of the show.
The era of
Expose how old we are.
Well, not my age, but more so the era of music that probably meant the most to me.
Mm-hmm.
My 5 top albums, they're not necessarily my most favorite albums of all time.
Right. Again, yeah, that's the thing, is influential. It doesn't have to be like popular or whatever.
I'm
it's
taking into
what did they
consideration
do
like
for you?
What has influenced the way that I write and the way that I think music, can sound or push the boundaries of what you can do in a song. Right. Number 1 for me is.
And is your number 1 like the best of those,
yes.
or okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just want to know what you're ascending.
The other 4 don't necessarily have an order, but I do have a number 1.
Okay, all right, cool.
And number 1 is El Cielo by Dredge.
That's one of mine too.
So
actually,
mostly because of the guitar sounds on that record have had just a direct influence on what I want to sound like.
Mm-hmm.
It's real, delay heavy, real big sounding.
Right.
And I mean the vocal melodies from that band, of course, are amazing. And as far as influential, that's my top band right there. As far as what I've wanted to sound like and the way that I write, I learned a lot from that record and that band in general.
Okay.
Second would probably be "You Come Before You" by Poison the Well.
Okay.
Mostly because, I watched a few documentaries that came along with that record, and they were just the most anal musicians I've ever seen in my entire life as far as actual sound.
Right.
Like, they sat there for, us as musicians, we get it, but there's this part in there, I don't know if it was on YouTube or on a CD extra or something, for like fucking half an hour just explaining this one part. And it was like in musician language, the ticka ticka or the chunk chunk or
right.
And they just sat there explaining it, and they were so anal about that, and it really comes out on that record because man, that record just sounded amazing, and the way that they mixed like the hardcore sound with really beautiful melody, that was something very new to me, and that really stuck with me. I mean, we're not that heavy of a band, but we do scream and we do have, breakdowns and stuff like that. So I do enjoy the mixing of the styles.
Okay.
So that was another big one for me. Full Collapse by Thursday.
Okay.
Which is just, from first song to the last song was an awesome album.
Yeah, it's a good album.
That had a big influence on me when I was a teenager. When I heard it, I was like, fuck, I want to play in that band. I want to be Thursday.
Yeah.
So that was a record that was really important to me when I was, at a younger age.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, what were my other ones? Let's see, I did Dredge, I did
Poison the Well.
Thursday, Poison the Well. A big record for me was Colma from Buckethead. and that was really one of the more laid back records that he did, because most of his records are fucking out there crazy. But he did a record that was almost like 50% acoustic, and it was very delay driven. And that was actually there was no vocals on that record.
Right.
It was all music, and that also had a big influence on my playing. It had a lot of delay. Just, the way that he made his guitar sing was, real special to me. So that record stuck with me a lot. And I can't even remember the fifth one. you can take it. I'll come back to my fifth one.
Go for it, man.
Go for the life of me.
Well, I'm gonna jump on his. El Cielo from Dredge was one of mine too. Guitar wise, also, but also because their songs are big in a very simple way. I think that record was actually, wasn't it one of those theme records? What is it called? When the whole record
Concept?
Yeah, Concept.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah.
But they did something in a record that I never heard before either. It's really haunting, but also beautiful too. I love that stuff, and I think that has a lot to do with our band name these days too, is the way our music goes. I was very heavily influenced by all that. That's actually came kind of a while after I became a musician, but I just decided to throw that one in, also because that was one of Adam's. My main one was the Black Album, man. That song, that record, that whole record, I used to listen to that thing front to back all the time, and that's the record, the type of music that made me want to be a musician.
That was like the catalyst that pushed you into.
I was like those heavy guitars, those hard drums, the really aggressive vocals. I knew I wanted to be a musician because of that record. I would also have to say, on the lighter side of and the way the distortion sounded on the record a lot is 311's 311.
Right.
That had a lot to do with, it was a generational thing, I think, too, because at that point when we were writing music, I was heavily influenced by that record. We even experimented back in our garage space with like saxophone and stuff like that.
Wow.
And like some kind of reggae stuff too. I remember we did have some stuff recorded like that. I don't know if we ever played it out live, but I just love the way the guitar sound on that record.
Who picked up those parts? Just out of curiosity.
Like the saxophone was.
I did. I played saxophone in school and in school band, dude.
Okay.
So there was a song that we recorded with the sax lead in it. It was cool as shit. And I know 311 is not like a ska band, but they had a lot of kind of like
a lot of
island
instruments.
Yeah, they had a lot of. They had some songs that had a lot of stuff in it. But the guitar sound and then just the fun atmosphere that record created, it was just something else to me. Dysfunction from Stained.
Okay.
Good answer.
That was a very deep, dark, chunky record, very raw. Oh man, that did it for days. That's one of the reasons that I started using like a thicker gauge string on my guitars.
Oh wow.
Because I was like, I'm not gonna tune to like B. Well, I think we did tune to B and sub at one point we were writing because of Stained.
Wow.
I was like, I want that low C sound, that that real low end. So, and that record for me made it okay to expose your emotion. Because he didn't hold back. Like it was just real raw, and I was like, wow. I thought music had to be, at that point, you had to write your emotions into something nice that people can stomach.
Right.
And that darker record did that for me, and it made it okay. And it still actually bleeds through now, because mixing the really pretty stuff, I love actually singing, but when there's a part that calls for screaming and some really horrible sounding vocal, well, not horrible sounding, but you know what I mean.
Well, like dynamics.
Really, some really aggressive stuff.
Right.
Because of those records, I'm not afraid to just throw it out there. I don't care who I'm in front of. You know what I mean? And some people don't understand it. Like, I don't know how many times we've played and they're like, oh, I really like all your music. Well, not so much the screaming parts, but well, that's okay. You don't have to like it. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I would also have to say Science from Incubus.
Okay, yeah.
That record for me just made it to where you can. Oh man, I don't know how to explain it. I just love that record, man.
It's an interesting fucking record,
dude,
especially for that time.
Yeah, dude, and it was one of the first of its kind when they threw the DJ in there. They really used him.
Yeah.
And I had always wanted to experiment with that, but I'm like, I don't know, man. I think we'll be biting it too much.
Yeah.
But Brandon Boyd's vocals and the way it was a lot like Mr. Bungle too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I used to like all that stuff too.
Crazy
but
fucking
Science
rhythms.
was a little more focused than
Yeah.
Mr. Bungle was.
Exactly.
And it was more rock driven, but it still added those really weird elements.
Yeah.
Science was big because Brandon Boyd was just an amazing singer to me, and at that point he wasn't the clean cut one that everybody knows. He was the dreadlocked, freaky dude with the drums and he wasn't the little sex object they groomed him to be for in later years.
Yeah.
I mean, I still love Incubus. A lot of the records down the road, I still bought, of course, later when they went a lot more mainstream. But Science was huge, and then Korn's first record, Korn, that was another dark record that I think allowed rock to be very ugly and gritty.
Right.
You know what I mean? And for the same reason that I love Dysfunction from Stained, they just did everything, man. They the low guitars and the emotion just coming out on tape. You know, they just recorded it and left it on there.
Yeah, totally, man.
And those, I used to be able to turn the lights off in my room and put some headphones on or just blast it, and it sets you in this weird mood. And I started writing. I drop my guitar down to B or C, and I start riffing around like that. Or I get my my effects pedal and do some weird. And there was actually some recordings that we made that we recorded on a 4-track Tascam way back.
Right.
That you could hear the Korn sound coming through my guitar. It's like, whoa!
Yeah.
Playing on the little part of the strings that goes over the bridge.
Right.
I wanted to do shit like that, man. It made it okay to just screw around with your guitar. So those would be mine. Is that 5? I don't know.
Yeah, that's 5.
And I did finally remember my 5th.
What was it?
It's Worship and Tribute from Glassjaw.
Oh, shit.
It's a
Okay.
good record.
Okay. Just because it was, there was parts of that album that were super beautiful, and there was parts that were just off the wall nuts, like just, whatever goes, That's why I've always loved that band. It's just all about like raw emotion with that band. So yeah, that's mine.
Yeah. Not to take too much time, but like, did you ever hear Head Automatica?
Oh yeah,
I loved it.
Okay, that's cool, man. I dig that.
We
record.
know it.
Yeah.
We're from the same generation. Like,
That's
of course.
Yeah.
Like,
That was cool.
That's one of the bands that when I first got with my chick, I showed her to show her that I liked different music than like this awful heavy shit.
Right.
I showed her Bleeding Heart Baby.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, that's a really cool song." I'm like, "See, like I'm not so one dimensional."
Right.
That's
so, yeah, I love that band.
I want to hear
too.
Right.
Gonzo's.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Did you
man.
get some?
Gonzo, it's your
As
turn.
long as you have a couple, man.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, anybody and everybody that knows me knows that I'm a really big Deftones fan.
Okay.
Like, I remember like growing up, like hearing that first Adrenaline album, Adrenaline, or Around the Fur and White Pony. Those are my major influences, like drumming.
Right.
Like everyone that hears me is like, "Fuck, you got that Deftone fucking Abe Cunningham fucking style to you and shit."
I fucking love that drummer, dude.
And that's
Fucking
I
love
remember when
that guy.
I met that dude, and I remember I fucking froze. And I'm 6'3", and this dude's like 5'6" and shit. He's looking up to me like this.
Yeah.
He's like, "What's up, you shy guy?" And I'm like, "You want my autograph?" I'm like, "No, I want your autograph." He was laughing and shit. I was like, "Fuck!"
yeah,
I was like,
dude.
"Dude, you're just." I mean, that's like, to me, that's the most amazing drummer to ever live in my book, dude. That's my influence. Fuck, like,
Hell yeah. No, that's
so
cool,
that's
man.
my 3 albums right there, like, from Around
So it's all
Adrenaline,
Deftones.
Around the Fur, and White Pony. It's like, fuck. More White Pony. When White Pony came out, it was like that whole offbeat shit. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
fuck
shit.
yeah,
And I was
dude.
like, damn,
White Pony
that
was like-
just
And see, and a lot of it comes out in our music too, man. Like Gonzo changed the way that we write music too because of the way he plays.
Off timing shit, dude. I
Yeah.
love that shit. I
Yeah.
try to incorporate that in my playing. What else? After that, I mean, At the Drive-In, were big influence. Fucking,
Hell yeah.
I from when they started. I mean, Relationship with Command, like, okay, fuck, it was good, but like, fucking, what is it? In Casino.
In Casino Out.
That's a good one too. But Relationship Command, when that shit came out, it was more like there was more structure to it. You know what I mean?
Right,
It was
right,
just like, fuck, it's just amazing.
Not to go off on too much of a tangent, but did you guys know that is Omar's like
Most
Like,
hated
he
album.
fucking hates that album.
But that happens with a lot of musicians, man.
It's just crazy. But anyways,
Via was a good.
Via is damn fucking
amazing.
good, dude. Yeah.
Like you're like, dude, those dudes are from El Paso. You're like,
Yeah.
are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, totally.
That album from when it was made, it's like shit. That was made in 90 something. It's like shit, dude.
Right.
Are you kidding me? All right. Well, this one is to drive in, and shit. The last one. It'd be, fuck.
I mean, if it helps, dude, the way I visualize it is like, what CD can I remember always putting in my CD player? You know what I mean? Like, that's how I see it, and I'm like, okay.
Those were all. You know what? My last one would probably be the Morrissey's Vauxhall and I. That one I remember for a good while was just like, fuck. Let me hear this all day long.
Right.
For a good year straight.
Oh, I did miss one. That wasn't 5.
Oh, you did?
Go ahead, finish, and then I'll.
Yeah, Vauxhall and I, just because Morrissey's it's Morrissey's.
Oh yeah, it's because I counted the one you said that.
Yeah, that we
that's
had.
right. Okay.
My
Yeah,
last
sorry about
one, honestly, this was later on when I had already been playing for a while. Is Bluest of Gray Skies from Finger 11.
Oh hell yeah.
Huh.
Oh man, that album I can listen to that album even now, front to back.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, like
there's
what
a
album?
song
like,
called Carousel.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's just the way that they wrote the song. You know, you envision a character. He does it with a guitar, and it sounds like circus music, but he does it with this effect on the guitar. But then you can visualize the carousel, and it's kind of a haunting song. But every song on that album it's not the Finger 11 that everybody knows, like
Now.
Paralyzer and on the mainstream stuff. Bluest of Gray Skies was their first main release, wasn't it?
No, it was their second. There was
another
tip
one
before it.
But that record, man, it influences me. I think even now, because sometimes when I'm stuck for parts, I'll think of that, and then the sound of the guitar, the sound of the vocals, just finally snap. Because I love that record, man.
Yeah.
Bluest of Gray Skies. That's got to be my other influential record because I love that entire record. I could listen front to back all the time.
Cool, man. All right. Well, as we were saying, these guys have a show tomorrow at King's X. What time do you guys play?
Well, the show starts at 9 o'clock. Let's say 9 o'clock. We want everybody to go for all the bands, man.
Right.
We've got our buddies. There's 3 bands. Our really good friends, Elotix, who's going to open up the show.
Okay.
We're really good friends with those guys. Yeah. Those guys are awesome to just hang out with.
I've heard them before. Yeah, they're pretty legit, man.
Yeah.
And then we've got Chromatic Algorithms. I don't know if they don't play too much, man, but we played with them a while back at Paulina's Badlands, and we were like, wow.
Are they all local bands?
Yeah.
Local
Blown
bands?
away.
We were blown. Those guys are great, man. We're like, wow, you guys are right on the money with us too.
No shit, no.
But like
good.
one of the sometimes it takes a long time. You see your friends' bands, like Elotix is a party band, and you love to hear them. They jam the hell out, and then Chromatic is they have a, I don't know how to explain it, man. They have this really big focused sound, but you just stay watching. And I like that. I was like, wow, dude, these guys are awesome. So it's going to be a really awesome mix of music tomorrow night, man.
Cool, man.
So I would really like everybody. And then King's X is just an awesome laid-back place. It's like Cheers, man, with bands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is. It's
true.
laid back. Everybody's so cool. There's no
They're
no pretension.
They're so
Right.
supportive of local music there, man.
Yeah.
They have shows every weekend, and the bartenders, they know us by name, and not because we're drunks, because we play there.
Because
and
they
they
pay attention to the
genuinely
people, yeah.
like our bands and our music, and they support
Right.
us. And you see, even the bartenders posting stuff on Facebook about bands and shows.
Taylor
So
from King
yeah,
X.
so I mean,
Nice.
it's just a really great place right now for music.
It's hard to
for local
find
music.
a lot of support like
Yeah.
that.
Right.
You know what I mean? For locals. And when they make you feel welcome like that, and you go and you know it's going to be a good show. Like every show we've played there has been great,
Yeah.
man.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's been a really nice crowd. It's been high energy.
Is there a cover charge?
No.
No?
That's the beauty
Free
of
show?
it.
Cool. All right, well, unless you guys have anything you want to close out with.
I think we said enough,
Sick.
man. Whoever's still on watching.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for watching, and visit Ask an Enemy Studios for the archive, and I guess that's pretty much it.
Thanks.
Thank you guys.
Bye, guys.